The sound of the handcuffs clicking around my wrists was louder than the thunder rattling the stained glass windows of the Sterling Manor. It was a cold, metallic snap that signaled the end of my life as I knew it. "Please," I whispered, the taste of bile rising in my throat. "I didn't take it. You have to believe me." I looked up, searching for his eyes. Julian, the man who, just hours ago, had held my face in his hands and promised that social classes didn't matter, that we would figure this out. Now he stood frozen by the grand fireplace, his face pale, his knuckles white as he gripped the marble mantel. He looked like a statue of despair. "Don't look at him, you filth," a voice hissed. It was Cordelia, his mother. She stood there in her emerald silk gown, looking like a triumphant viper. She held the black velvet pouch that the police officer had just pulled from my tattered backpack. "The audacity," she sneered, turning to the officers. "I gave this girl a job, a uniform, a chance to eat something other than scraps, and this is how she repays us? By stealing the Sterling Legacy diamond?" "Officer, take her away," Cordelia commanded, waving her hand as if shooing away a fly. The officer tugged at my arm. "Let's go, miss." "Julian!" I screamed, my dignity shattering. "Julian, tell them! You know I wouldn't!" He lifted his head. His eyes met mine. They were filled with tears, but he didn't move. He didn't speak. He just watched as they dragged me toward the heavy oak doors, out into the pouring rain. I thought that was the end. But I didn't know then that the diamond in that pouch was the key to unlocking a secret so dark it would burn the Sterling Empire to the ground. Let me start from the beginning so you can understand how a girl who grew up counting pennies for bus fare ended up in handcuffs in the most expensive mansion in the state. My name is Genevieve. Before the scandal, I was invisible. I was one of those people you walk past in the street without seeing. The ones in the gray uniforms, pushing cleaning carts, wiping down tables, scrubbing the floors of buildings we could never afford to live in. I was 26, living in a shoebox apartment that smelled perpetually of damp drywall and boiled cabbage. I lived with my younger sister, Aurora. She was brilliant, studying on a scholarship, but her health was fragile. Asthma, allergies, a weak immune system. The city smog was killing her. We needed money for her treatments, and my job at the diner wasn't cutting it. That's when the agency called. "We have a placement," the woman on the phone said, her voice clipped. "The Sterling estate. It's a live-in position. High pay, strict confidentiality. The previous maid left abruptly." I didn't ask why. I just asked, "When do I start?" The Sterling estate was less of a house and more of a fortress. It sat on a cliff overlooking the ocean, a sprawling Gothic monstrosity of gray stone and ivy. When I arrived, the air smelled of salt and pine, a stark contrast to the exhaust fumes of the city. I was greeted by the housekeeper, Mrs. Danvers. No, that's too cliché. Her name was Octavia. Octavia was a woman made of iron and starch. She looked at my worn-out sneakers with a mixture of pity and disdain. "Rule number 1, Genevieve," Octavia said as she led me through the labyrinthine corridors. "You are to be silent. The Sterlings do not like chatter. Rule number 2, never enter the West Wing unless explicitly told to clean. That is Mr. Julian's sanctuary. And rule number 3, never, under any circumstances, look Mrs. Sterling in the eye. She considers it an act of aggression." I nodded, clutching my meager bag of belongings. I understand. For the first month, I was a ghost. I polished silver until my fingers cramped. I dusted books that hadn't been opened in 50 years. I learned the rhythm of the house. The house had a heartbeat, and it was a cold one. Cordelia Sterling was the matriarch. She was a woman of terrifying beauty, always draped in silks and cashmere, smelling of crushed lilies and ice. She didn't walk, she glided. She spoke to the staff only through Octavia, as if addressing us directly would tarnish her soul. And then there was Julian. I first saw him 2 weeks in. I was polishing the banister on the grand staircase. I heard music, a piano, played with such raw, aching sadness that it made my chest tight. I followed the sound to the music room. The door was ajar. He was sitting at the grand piano, his back to me. He had dark, messy hair that curled at the nape of his neck, and he wore a white shirt with the sleeves rolled up. He wasn't playing a classical piece I recognized. It sounded like an improvisation, a storm of minor chords. I must have made a sound, a floorboard creaking under my weight, because he stopped abruptly and turned around. My heart hammered against my ribs. I was terrified. I expected him to yell, to call Octavia. Instead, he looked at me with eyes the color of storm clouds. He looked lonely. "I'm sorry," I stammered, backing away. "I was just the dust. I didn't mean to intrude." "It's okay," he said. His voice was deep, soft, not the bark of a master to a servant. "You're the new girl, Genevieve." I nodded, staring at my shoes. "Yes, sir." "Please, don't call me sir. It makes me feel like my father. I'm Julian." He turned back to the keys, playing a soft melody. "Do you like music, Genevieve?" I don't know much about it," I admitted. "But that was beautiful. Sad, but beautiful." He let out a short, dry laugh. "That sums up this house, doesn't it? Sad, but beautiful." That was the first crack in the wall. Over the next few weeks, the cracks widened. I was assigned to clean the library in the mornings, which was when Julian liked to read. At first, we ignored each other. But one day, I dropped a heavy volume of encyclopedias. He jumped up to help me gather them. Our hands brushed. His skin was warm, his fingers long and artistic. Mine were rough, red from scrubbing chemicals. "You have calluses," he noted, tracing the palm of my hand before I could pull it away. "I work for a living," I said defensively, instantly regretting the sharp tone. He smiled, a genuine smile that reached his eyes. "I envy that. I envy the honesty of it. My hands have never done a day of real work in their life. They just sign papers and play songs nobody listens to." We started talking, really talking. I told him about Aurora, about the city, about my dream of owning a small bakery one day. He told me about the pressure of the Sterling name, about how his mother controlled every aspect of his life, about how he felt like a bird in a gilded cage. "She wants me to marry Vanessa," he confessed one rainy afternoon. We were in the conservatory. The air was thick and humid, smelling of orchids and wet earth. It was the only place in the house that felt alive. Vanessa Vanderhoven. Her father owns the banks that, well, let's just say our families have synergy. "Do you love her?" I asked, pruning a fern to avoid looking at him. "I don't even know her," Julian sighed, leaning against a marble pillar. "She's just like my mother, cold, calculating. She looks at me and sees a merger, not a man." He stepped closer to me. The smell of rain and expensive cologne overwhelmed my senses. I think I could only love someone who sees me, just me. The air between us crackled. It was dangerous, it was forbidden, and it was inevitable. He kissed me. It wasn't like in the movies with fireworks. It was desperate. It was a hunger we had both been suppressing. His hands tangled in my hair, pulling me closer, as if he was drowning and I was the only air left in the world. For a month, we lived in a secret paradise. Stolen kisses in the pantry, whispered conversations in the hallway when everyone was asleep. I felt guilty, yes. I knew I was risking my job, my sister's medication, everything, but for the first time in my life, I felt cherished. But secrets in the Sterling Manor have a way of rotting. The micro-conflicts started small. Octavia began assigning me more grueling tasks, cleaning the grout in the basement bathrooms with a toothbrush, scrubbing the outdoor patio in the freezing wind. She knew something was up. She watched me with hawk eyes. Then came the dinner party. It was the engagement announcement. The Vanderhovens were coming. I was forced to serve. I had to wear the formal uniform, stiff collar, white apron, hair pulled back so tight it gave me a headache. I walked into the dining room carrying a silver platter of oysters. Vanessa sat next to Julian. She was undeniably stunning, with blonde hair that looked like spun gold and a dress that cost more than my entire life's earnings. She had a hand on Julian's arm, claiming him. Julian looked miserable. He barely touched his wine. When I placed the platter down, he looked up at me. For a split second, his mask slipped, and I saw the apology in his eyes. "Careful!" Vanessa shrieked. I hadn't spilled anything, but she jerked back as if I had thrown acid on her. "You clumsy idiot! You almost dripped oyster juice on my Valentino!" "I'm so sorry, miss," I murmured, bowing my head. "I didn't—" "Don't speak!" Cordelia's voice cut through the room like a whip. She was sitting at the head of the table, sipping red wine. Her eyes bored into me. "Go to the kitchen. Send Octavia. You are clearly incompetent." I fled the room, tears burning my eyes. In the kitchen, I leaned against the cold stainless steel counter, trying to breathe. 10 minutes later, the door swung open. It wasn't Octavia. It was Julian. "Genevieve," he whispered, closing the door behind him. "You shouldn't be here," I hissed, wiping my face. "If your mother sees you—" "I don't care anymore," he said, grabbing my hands. "I can't do this. I can't marry her. I watched her treat you like dirt, and I did nothing. I hate myself for it. Julian, you have a duty." "Screw the duty," he said, his voice rising. "I want you. I want to leave. I have some money in a trust that she can't touch. It's not a fortune, but it's enough. We can go to the city. I can teach music. You can open your bakery." My heart soared. It was a fantasy, a beautiful, impossible dream. "Are you serious?" "Dead serious. Tonight, after the party ends, pack your things, meet me at the back gate at 2 a.m. I believed him. God help me, I believed him. I went to my small room in the servants' quarters. I packed my few clothes, a photo of my sister, and the little wooden bird Julian had whittled for me. I sat on the edge of the bed, watching the clock tick. 1:30 a.m., 1:45 a.m. Suddenly, my door burst open. It wasn't Julian. It was the police. And behind them, Cordelia, looking like the angel of death. "That's her." Cordelia pointed a manicured finger at me. "Search everything." "What? What's going on?" I stood up, terrified. "Don't play innocent," Cordelia spat. "The Sterling Legacy diamond. It's gone from the safe, and the security cameras show you leaving the study." "I was never in the study," I cried. "I was in the kitchen. Julian knows. He came to see me." "My son," Cordelia said, her voice dripping with mock pity, "is currently comforting his fiancée. He has no idea what you are talking about." The officer dumped my backpack onto the bed. My clothes spilled out. And there, tumbling out from the folds of my worn-out sweater, was a black velvet pouch. The officer opened it. A massive diamond necklace glittered in the dim light. "Well, well," the officer said. That brings us back to the handcuffs, to the rain, to Julian standing by the fireplace, paralyzed. They put me in the back of the squad car. The rain hammered against the roof. I felt numb. My life was over. Prison. my sister would have no one. But as the car started to pull away, my brain finally snapped out of its shock and started to work. I replayed the scene in the bedroom, the pouch, the necklace. I had seen that necklace before, not in the safe, but in a magazine on Cordelia's desk while I was dusting weeks ago. It was an article about the art of replicas. And something else. When the officer held it up, it didn't catch the light right. My father, before he died, was a watchmaker. He taught me about glass, crystal, and diamonds. A real diamond, he used to say, has a fire inside. It breaks light into a spectrum. Glass just shines. The necklace in the pouch, it just shone. It looked flat. And then I remembered a conversation I had overheard 3 days ago. I was cleaning the hallway outside Cordelia's office. The door was cracked. "I need more time," Cordelia had been pleading into the phone. "The liquidity is an issue. No, the necklace is collateral. I can't sell it, unless..." The realization hit me like a physical blow. "Stop!" I screamed, kicking the seat in front of me. "Stop the car!" The officer looked in the rearview mirror. "Quiet back there." "It's fake," I yelled. "The necklace, it's a fake. She framed me with a piece of glass." The officer laughed. "Yeah, sure, that's what they all say." "Check it," I begged. "Please, you're a police officer. You have a diamond tester at the station, don't you? Or take it to a jeweler. If I stole $1 million necklace, why does it look like costume jewelry?" The officer driving glanced at his partner. "She is pretty persistent." "It's a rock, Mike. It looked real to me." "Just look at the clasp," I shouted, desperate. "Real sterling silver or platinum would have a hallmark, a stamp. If that thing is cheap metal, it won't have one." The partner sighed, pulled the pouch from the evidence bag in the front seat, and turned on the dome light. He squinted at the necklace. "I don't see a stamp," he muttered. He rubbed the metal with his thumb. "Actually, is this paint flaking off?" The car slowed down. "Turn around," I said, my voice trembling but firm. "Take me back. If that necklace is fake, then there was no theft. And if there was no theft, Mrs. Sterling just filed a false police report." The officers exchanged a look. This was high stakes. The Sterlings were powerful, but if they booked me for a felony based on a piece of glass, they'd look like idiots. The car made a U-turn. When we walked back into the manor, the atmosphere changed. The party guests were still there, murmuring in the hall. Vanessa was sobbing dramatically on a sofa. Julian was sitting with his head in his hands. Cordelia was holding a glass of champagne, looking victorious. When she saw me walk in, flanked by the officers but not being dragged, her glass slipped from her fingers and shattered on the floor. "What is the meaning of this?" she demanded. "Why is she back?" "Mrs. Sterling," the older officer said, his voice hard. He held up the evidence bag. "We need to verify the authenticity of this item." "How dare you?" Cordelia's face went red. "It is the Sterling Legacy Diamond. It has been in our family for generations." "It's peeling, Mother," Julian said. He had stood up. He walked over to the officer and looked at the bag. He looked at me, then at his mother. The fog in his eyes had cleared. "The metal is peeling," Julian repeated, his voice rising. "And the stone, that's cubic zirconia. I know what the real one looks like. I used to play with it as a child." "Julian, stop," Cordelia hissed. "You are distraught." "No." Julian turned to the room, to the Vanderhovens, to the guests. "My mother didn't just frame Genevieve. She's broke." The room gasped. It was the sound of a dynasty crumbling. "What?" Vanessa stood up. "Broke?" "That's why she's pushing this marriage," Julian said, walking toward his mother. He looked taller, stronger. "The accounts are empty, aren't they? You sold the real diamond years ago to keep up appearances, and tonight You needed a scapegoat. You needed the insurance money from a theft to pay off the debts before the wedding. Lies! Cordelia shrieked. She lunged for the bag, but the officer held her back. Genevieve? Julian turned to me. He ignored everyone else. He walked right up to me, took the officer's key, and unlocked the handcuffs. The metal clattered to the floor. He took my hands. They were shaking. "I am so sorry," he whispered. "I was a coward. I let her control me. I let her hurt you." "You came back," I said, tears streaming down my face. "You stood up." "I'm leaving," Julian announced to the room. "I don't want the house. I don't want the name, and I certainly don't want the fake life." He looked at Vanessa. "I'm sorry, Vanessa, but you don't want to marry into a bankrupt family anyway." Vanessa looked at Cordelia with pure disgust, gathered her skirts, and stormed out. Her parents followed. Cordelia stood alone in the center of the room. The police officer was reading her rights, filing a false report, insurance fraud. The list was growing. Julian didn't look back. He took my hand. "Let's go." We walked out of the front door, into the rain. But this time, the rain felt like a baptism. It was washing away the dust of the manor, the smell of old money and lies. We didn't have much. Julian's trust fund turned out to be smaller than he thought. Cordelia had raided parts of it. But it was enough to rent a small place in the city and get my sister the best doctors. It's been 3 years since that night. I own that bakery now. It's called The Silver Lining. It smells of yeast and vanilla, not bleach and wax. Julian teaches piano to kids in the neighborhood. He's not rich anymore. He wears denim, not silk. His hands have calluses now from kneading dough when he helps me in the mornings. Sometimes we see Cordelia in the news. The trial was messy. She lost the manor. I think she lives in a small condo in Florida now, living off a meager pension. I don't hate her. Honestly, I pity her. She had diamonds, but she never had warmth. I look at Julian across the bakery counter. He has flour on his nose, and he's laughing at something a customer said. He looks happy, truly happy. We proved that love isn't about status. It's not about which fork you use or how big your house is. It's about who stands by you when the handcuffs click shut. It's about who sees the truth when the world sees a lie. That night changed everything for me. I learned that dignity cannot be bought and integrity cannot be stolen. To anyone feeling small, invisible, or trapped by their circumstances, remember, the truth has a way of shining brighter than any diamond. Thank you for listening to my story. It wasn't easy to relive, but I hope it gives you hope. If you enjoyed this story, please hit the like button. It really helps the channel grow. Don't forget to subscribe and tap the notification bell so you never miss a new confession. And I have a question for you all. If you were in Julian's shoes, would you have forgiven your mother, or would you have walked away forever like he did? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single one.